demo. I love that demo, and I think this is what user groups are good for, is for sharing what we're all working on, what's useful to us. And that's also why I like this session, because I was talking to Kevin about some of the different tools that I use, and he said, hey, this is something to share with everyone. And first, of course, I have to say Salesforce Inspector, fantastic tool. And maybe if I have some time at the end, I'll show you a couple extra ways that I use very simple things, but they are just so nice, just adds to the whole experience. So my name is Fred Tchang. I'm a Salesforce administrator at Korea. And I have about 10 years of experience as Salesforce administration, Salesforce Core, CPQ, now Marketing Cloud and Data Cloud. So if anyone wants to talk about that, chat about that, happy to, please connect with me, and happy to talk. So I want to start out with a little survey, just a little poll of the group. So if you want to use your phone and just call up this little poll on your phone, we can do a little live poll. I thought this might be kind of fun. And the poll is, you'll see, what extensions or add-ons do you use? I'm curious about what other people are using. I still have the QR code up there if you hadn't checked it yet. So we have Salesforce Inspector, which is fantastic. I'm so glad that they are improving it. Organizer for Salesforce, we'll get into that a little bit. Salesforce Change Set Helper. Well, got a lot of different submissions coming in. This is really interesting. I tell you, I'd like to hear that at the end of the presentation. I'd like to hear about what other is. It seems that for the audio for the room, it seems like the mic of the speaker is the only one that really we'd be able to hear online. So maybe at the end, if anyone wants to share what their others are, we can have someone at the front of the room just to repeat what people are sharing. But wow, besides Salesforce Inspector, other is winning out. Organizer for Salesforce, we're going to take a look at that. Advanced Code Searcher, okay, I'm not demoing that one, but that's a really cool one. I could, for example, if you're trying to find like where in the code is this referenced, for example, sometimes there's a hard code of an ID, and you're like, I don't know where this is. You can actually search your code for that hard code, right? That's a really handy tool. All right, so let me go do a little walkthrough of some of these so we can get a sense of what other tools might be available. So the first one I have up is Perm Comparator, and you will not see this in a lot of lists. It is a Heroku app. It's not a Chrome app, but it's really cool because it does one very simple thing. It helps you to compare profiles, permission sets, and users to see what perms they have access to or what they don't. So let me give you an example. So here we have a perm comparator. You do have to log in. And here I have a couple of profiles that I had. One is called Member Experience Power User, and the other is called Member Experience User. And I was, you come into a new org, or you're either a consultant or you're just coming into a new org, and you're like, what is the difference between these profiles? You would have to call up the profiles, walk through them. I mean, maybe some people have better strategies for how you do this. I don't know, but I use Perm Comparator. So what you do is you drag. I can sort of let's see, clear this out, right? You have choices of users. You can compare users, permission sets, profiles, right? So what I would do is find the profiles I want, drag them, right? Member user experience, power user, member user experience, right? And then here it's going to show you a comparison. Common perms is not that useful because common perms are usually not what you're looking for. Unique perms are usually what you're looking for. So are there user permissions that are unique? Maybe there are object permissions that are unique, or set up entity permissions. Okay. You know what I realized? I think I might have logged out, and that's why I'm not seeing any actual examples. It might have logged me out.
Fred,
Yes,
can I interrupt for a sec? Can
sure.
you zoom or whatever, make your font size bigger
Oh, okay. Yes,
for old people like me?
yes. Now for
Okay, that's
everyone.
perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. So yeah, so I seem to not be logged in or something, so because it's got this, but it's not giving me actual differences. But you get the idea. And so what are the use cases? Okay, you walk into an org, you're trying to figure out the permissions. Another use case, one user can see things and another user cannot. What is the difference between their permissions? At least at the object level, right? This is what are the differences between their permissions? I can drag users up here and compare them. Or we are moving to a time of using permission sets, really, as a way of assigning permissions. So same thing, permission sets, dragging permission sets up to compare them. Okay. So that's permission sets. Let's see. All right, perm comparator. And as there are questions, if you, so it seems that if somebody has a laptop, like Kevin has his laptop, he could repeat a question from his laptop. But if anyone else has a question, you just relay your question to somebody who has a laptop and is logged into the meeting. The next thing I wanted to go over was change set helper.
Just,
Now,
just
yeah.
a second, Fred.
Sure.
I unmuted, I'll leave it unmuted. Is there any questions about that first one, the permission? No, okay, go ahead, Fred.
All right, good, thanks. Thanks for checking. So change set helper. Now, I know I hate change sets, and I wish I had a DevOps tool, and I've been looking at some, and maybe one day I'll ask the business if I could get one. But for those of us, and of course there is the new DevOps Center, and so perhaps some people have moved to that. Fantastic if you have, but I have not yet. So for those of us who don't have a DevOps tool and haven't moved to DevOps Center yet, there is something called Change Set Helper. It is just a way of making it a little bit easier. It's not as if change sets are still a pain. The fact that you have to keep track of every change you've made, it's still an issue. Change Set Helper doesn't do everything, but it does some things really nicely. So first I almost have to remind myself what it was like before Change Set Helper, because I've been using it for so long. So before Change Set Helper, if you want to add components, you simply hit add for a change set, and all it does, let's say we're going to add a custom field, we have to go find the kind of object it is, and all it is showing us a very huge long list, and we have to keep clicking more and keep scrolling. It's a crazy interface. I can go by letter, right? I can at least get there a little bit faster by letter. Okay, now change set helper, we take a look at that. All right, so change set helper, it is a Chrome plugin, okay, Chrome extension, so you can get it from the Chrome store. Oops, sorry, plugged into that one. Going into my dev org. So here I have a change set. And first of all, it has a couple of options where you can actually download the metadata. if you want as a zip pack. I've not used this feature, but it's certainly something you can do. Just the simple act of adding items. Now I'll show you if I want to add a custom field using change set helper. The difference is I have to give it a few seconds to load. You'll see in the background that I've got a lot more columns that I can work with. Maybe it's a little grayed out as it's loading. Come on. But I can tell you that the features that it has. So I can search by name. So just a simple search. I can sort by date modified, right? The simplest thing, right? When you're working in a sandbox and you've got changes, what are the last things that I changed? So you can sort by columns, right? So some very, very simple features that it has. And then of course you can add and then come back to this screen. It also has a feature which unfortunately can't use right now, compare with org. So you can actually compare with other orgs. Compare to see which have been changed, or when the last date was that they were changed, basically. So that is also handy because you think you have the latest one in your sandbox, but is it later compared to your production? Okay, so that is change set helper. All
Any
right.
questions on that?
Or if there's something, if anyone else has used this and they use some other feature, I always like to hear how other people are using it.
Yeah, come up closer, because he won't be able to hear you from here.
Not necessarily a feature, but there is another product called DevOps Center. So DevOps Center does the similar thing. They have made change sets a lot easier, and now you can, with GitHub, have CI/CD properly set up with your dev environments to your proper pipelines, and it has its own flaws. Like, it's not the best, and I wouldn't recommend it for anyone enterprise level clients for Salesforce. Maybe smaller clients who are just starting up and they don't want to use change sets, and they also would like to store their metadata in GitHub. So Salesforce DevOps Center is a great tool for that. I would also recommend, because they don't align with anything other than GitHub right now. So unless you're not happy with GitHub and you want to do something else, the DevOps Center is not for you. But otherwise, if you're smaller, change sets like GitHub, DevOps Center could be a great tool.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I've been thinking about, gear set versus moving to the built-in DevOps Center and what the benefits might be.
Let's see what.
If you want to see Fred, just leave it.
Thank
All
you.
right. Is that it, Kevin?
Yeah, that's it. Just keep
Okay.
going.
All right, sounds good. So another handy little tool, organizer for Salesforce. Okay, this is a very simple tool. Basically, and it has a couple of features, but really I use it for color coding Chrome tabs. I mean, really, that's the simplest thing. So for example, you'll see that on my screen here, I've got several Salesforce orgs. Some are green, some are orange, some are blue. It can be such a pain to keep track of okay, which Salesforce org am I working with? And so with Organizer for Salesforce, you basically can set different colors, right? So I can set the production to be blue. I can set my QA to be orange, my sandbox to be green, or whatever colors I want to use. So it's very handy. Plus, it gives you a little line at the top. So the icon, the cloud icon is colored, and there's a line at the top. to show you which
Fred.
one.
Fred, can you hear me?
Yes,
This is Nash.
hey Nash.
Do you know that you can put teams, different teams for UI lightning experience? Then you have your sandbox all running in green and production be red and another sandbox be blue or whatever. This is another way of doing the same thing that you just did
Oh, is
here.
it using what tool?
It is out of box Salesforce lightning team.
Team.
If you go to setup and search for team,
Oh,
you can see it there.
let's take a look. Team.
TH, team, like team.
Oh, themes.
Team. Come on, people.
Ah, okay. Ah,
Here you can change your org to have different color, and when you are in this org on every page, you are in
oh,
different
I see.
background.
Yes, but what happens when you refresh the sandbox?
But Sandbox will inherit what is in production, but you can change it after you refresh Sandbox.
Oh,
you give
I see.
color, and then you have it.
I got it. I got it. I understand. So you could do this. That's true. Well, the good nice thing about Organizer is it's persistent. It just, pass refreshes or whatever, as long as the org is the same. But and one other thing you can do is add a letter in front of the name. So for example, you can add like I have SB for sandbox or QA or just to kind of add to whatever P for production or QA or SB or whatever you want. You basically add a label and it can be the start of the name of that tab. All right, very good. All right, cool. So simple, but kind of nice tool. Now I don't know how many people actually here have Marketing Cloud, but this is just an essential tool for Marketing Cloud. Actually, can I ask how many people, with a raise of hands, how many people have Marketing Cloud? Anyone?
That one.
All right, you got one. All right. Do you use Salesforce SFMC Companion?
Oh, done.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
None, sorry.
No?
I was asleep at the switch here. Go ahead.
No one uses it? No one uses Marketing Cloud?
Two TVs, Marketing Cloud.
Two people
Oh, two people. Okay.
and no what? No one uses. Sorry, Linda, come up here. Don't be shy there, Linda.
Hey, Fred.
Hey, Linda.
Hey, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. It's good to hear your voice.
Sorry. We are using Salesforce Marketing Cloud and also the gentleman here. What is your name? He's also using it, but
Okay. All right.
we're not,
Great.
but we're interested in hearing about this Salesforce Marketing. Cloud,
Okay.
right?
All right,
Yeah.
great. And I'll try to make this, I mean, this will be brief. Each one of these, we're just spending a few minutes. Those who don't use Marketing Cloud, can you imagine walking into an org and let me just give you a visual for this. You are you're told that there's a data extension. Think of it like a file or a record that someone is working with, and they know the name of it. And they're telling you, well, I need this data extension updated. So you're saying, okay, what you have to ask them is, what folder is it in? Like, you can't search universally. You can't search across the org. There is no search. You can be in a folder and you can search within that folder, but searching for things is like incredibly difficult in Marketing Cloud. So one app that just makes this simple and also adds some other nice features is SFMC Companion. So for example, if I want to search, it's a Chrome extension. If I want to search for, I know there's something called onboarding. As I might not know the exact name of it. It'll give me some results. It sounds, wow, that seems very simple. Couldn't Salesforce Marketing Cloud do that? No. And then I want to say, okay, I say, I know this is the data extension I want. I can take a look at it. It shows me where it is. So, okay, now I can find the folder where it's actually located. It gives me some basic data about it, which is really cool. It gives me the actual fields that are in it. So I can actually look at that. But even beyond that, also really cool, it tells me if this data extension has connections to existing queries, right? Some to your automations. Is it a target of certain queries or a source of queries? Okay. And then if I go to that query, it tells me where this query is located. Okay. And it gives me directly the query text. So I can see exactly what that SQL query, what exactly is in it, right? So there are some other features of SFMC Companion, but that's really what I use it for, is just for searching for stuff and understanding how things relate to each other. So very simple.
Sorry. You did it? Sorry, go ahead.
Any questions or suggestions or ways that other people use this tool? All right, that's good. Well, that's pretty much what I had. I just wanted to share some of the things, and I want to encourage other people, if you have something